Hello everyone, welcome to IHN Academy's UGC NDA Net English class. Today we are going to discuss the important topic in English in India, that is Macaulay's Minute. So when you study how English has been promoted in India during the British rule, Macaulay's Minute is a very important aspect. So Thomas Babington Macaulay, he was born in 1800 and died in 1859. He was an English essayist, poet, politician, and historian. He wrote Lays of Ancient Rome. This is a series of popular ballads that he wrote, and it is about the heroic episodes in Roman history, and it is written in 1842. Another famous work was History of England. So, as we know, he's a historian, was an historian as well. So, he wrote a lot about the history of England. He also wrote a series of essays in the Edinburgh Review. It's a magazine, and he wrote essays from 1825 to 1844. Macaulay moved to India in 1834 as a member of the Governor's Supreme Council. So he moved to India in 1834. So he was appointed as a member of Governor's Supreme Council. And today, Macaulay is not for two of his major contributions that he done to Indian administration. One is he developed the Indian Penal Code, the IPC code that we have right now. Macaulay was the one who developed it. Next is Minute on Education in India, 1835. It's very important since we are studying English literature, because in India, we should know how actually English education started, how the spread of English started, where was that exact point when the British government or British rule decided to implement English language upon the people of India. So it actually began with the Charter Act. And then later on in 1835, the Minute on Education, that is popularly known as Macaulay's Minute, it emphasized the need of English education in India. So in his minute, what Macaulay said is that he argued that, so since then, we had Sanskrit and Arabic for education. That is a medium of, there was a medium of communication. So what Macaulay said is that providing education based on Sanskrit and Arabic in India is of no use for India's development. So he said that it's not going to do any good for India's development. And it is important that the education should be done in English, and the English literature should be implemented on English on the curriculum. That is what he said. So what he envisaged was creating a class of people. There will be a class of people who are Indian by blood and color, but their taste, their intellect, their opinion, their morals, everything will be shaped in English. So it was their idea to develop or create that class of people. So Macaulay envisaged that this education system would create a class of anglicized Indians who would serve as cultural intermediaries between the British and the Indians. So what British found very difficult was to implement their culture upon us. They want to wipe out India's culture and implement the Western culture upon us. So this Minute also laid a foundation, and it said that we create an anglicized group of Indians, that they will be thinking in English, their morals will be in English, their opinions, intellect, everything will be in English. So that anglicized Indians would act as cultural intermediaries, that they will act as a bridge between that cultural gap between India and Britain. That was their idea. And this agenda of education in India was to establish and perpetuate British power. It would be easier for the British people to rule us or govern us or suppress us by implementing English language upon us. So that was their idea. So now, these were the major arguments that Macaulay put forward in his minute, that is to replace the Persian as official language. Till then, we had of Persian as official language, to replace Persian to English. So the official language would change to English. Then the medium of instructions in all institutions of learning should be in English. Since then, it was the vernacular language. Instead of vernacular language, the medium of instruction should be English. And translation of Western knowledge into undeveloped vernacular languages need not be encouraged. But till then, what happened was we have English work or the Western knowledge. It was translated into the vernacular language, maybe Arabic, Persian, Sanskrit, whatever vernacular language we had, it has been translated to the vernacular language. And he called our vernacular languages undeveloped. So he said that instead of translating them into this undeveloped vernacular language, there is no need of translation. Teach them English. We can teach them English so that they can read the Western knowledge in the original language itself. Okay, then what they did was by creating this anglicized group of Indians, they were actually training these people, training the Indians to govern the country. That is, they will be undertaking training for the rest of the countrymen. So he had also a downward filtration theory. In downward filtration theory, what Macaulay said was, we'll choose a group of people, we'll give them English education. Then these people will go educate the masses. It will be like going down. So that was a downward filtration theory. That is what this actually means, that we'll select a group of people, we'll teach them English, we'll create that anglicized group, and these people will go give training to the like the masses or the people from the lower strata, or the people who are common people. That is what we can say, common countrymen. These people will give training. That is what Macaulay's Minute was, and it's very important. After the Charter Act of 1830, this was the major milestone in English education in India. Macaulay's Minute is very important because like in previous years question papers also, there have been questions about Macaulay's Minute. We'll be discussing the short idea about Wood's Dispatch in the coming series also. Wood's Dispatch is another important point or to remember when you study how English education started in India. Then we have Hunter Commission. These are very important. So I hope you understood Macaulay's Minute. Try to read it again. Thank you.